Hello, welcome to the Moon Griffon Show. We are on the road live in beautiful Lake Charles in Louisiana, and of course in conjunction with KOK 1400 AM, where we've been broadcasting now almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in April 15th. No, April 1st. It'll be 20 years that we've been over here, and we love coming over here. Got an opportunity to do a special program today. The Louisiana Realtors, I have their, I'm going to say their board of directors, and they're kind of a convention with the people that make it happen for them. You know, if you're in business in Louisiana, these people are have been celebrating. This is their 100th year that they're celebrating, the Realtors in the great state of Louisiana. And we're glad to be here and have an opportunity to speak with them at lunch today. So hope I don't run them all out of here. But what we're going to do today, we're going to visit with several people within Louisiana Realtors Association, and we're going to get a chance to visit and see what they do and how they make things happen in our economy. And, you know, small business, the backbone of every economy, but in Louisiana, it really is the backbone. And you got private companies here and people that have been doing this for a long, long time, and they do a great job. So we'll do that today. I got a little bit of news in between, but we're going to visit with them for the most part. I'm joined right now by Logan Morris. He's the 2019 president of Louisiana Realtors. First of all, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Moon.
Now, let me ask you this: where are you from? Because I mean, I got some hugs from people in Monroe. I don't think they knew who I really was, so they gave me a hug. But I've met people already, so let's start with that first of all.
Fantastic. I am Logan Morris, and I am from Leesville, Louisiana, the big metropolitan area of Leesville.
I know, right? Where's that, brother?
Excellent.
Well, now you've been in this business for how long? All your life?
All of my life, as long as I could walk, and then as soon as I get a license.
That means you had a parent that was in the business.
Grandparents, and great-grandparents, yes.
Oh, my God, so you had a little bit of everything.
Just a little.
Now, you say you're in Leesville, and I don't know how all of it works, and you can kind of help us a little bit, because you got realtors everywhere, and I'm sure you got competitive realtors there. But do you cover anywhere, or do you cover basically in that area?
So you're licensed to sell real estate in Louisiana. Okay. In the Realtor organization, you are supposed to maintain a core competence in a jurisdictional area. So really my service area is about 3 parishes. Different associations in the state service different areas or different sizes of land area, but you are really serving and working in a locale that you are competent in.
No, I figured that because you got so many people coming from around, and you're going to stay in basically a general area. I mean, somebody may call you that moved to Slidell, Louisiana, which would be a good ways away from you, and you're probably going to say you need to talk to so-and-so. I know you try to help them. And you guys really, y'all do compete, but y'all also work together.
Absolutely.
That's kind of how this business works.
It is.
Because I've been around it. I've bought and sold homes, and I've had people, realtors, to help me.
Sure.
So you got to work together. How does that work, though? Because, I mean, you know, I'm a little different. I'm a old competitive guy with a ball and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so you're going, well, but you made friends on the court, and then you wanted to beat them up on the court, but you were friends with them off the court.
Absolutely.
Y'all actually have to work like that somewhat, don't you?
That is correct. By and large, you have a listing and a selling agent. And in the Realtor organization, we focus on what is best for the client that we represent and treating all parties in the transaction fairly and honestly. So you don't want to be the realtor that doesn't do things correctly because it will come back to bite you. You don't want to burn bridges. In other words, you will face the same person at the closing table again. And so it behooves you to do a good job and to be honest and fair in all of your dealings.
Well, I know y'all, I'm going to say, just going by, because I've sold houses through realtors too. So you guys got to work together because you may have a deal that can help somebody. They may have a deal that can help you. That's why this has got to come together.
That's correct.
So when y'all come together as an association,
Absolutely.
You got to be able to work
together.
Really together.
Absolutely.
Sorry, 100 years. What does that mean to you? And what are y'all doing? Let's talk a little bit about what y'all doing here today. I'm going to call it a convention.
Absolutely.
I'm going to call it what you want to, but a little convention y'all got going on.
So this particular conference for Louisiana Realtors is the first official board meeting and conference during our 100th year. And the purpose of this centers around association management and what you're supposed to be doing for that. Now, Louisiana Realtors in particular for its 100th year will be traveling into every part of Louisiana, highlighting the value of the Realtor brand and what it has meant over the years in its first 100 years to Louisiana and hopefully what it will mean in the next.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, I know people sell their homes. It's kind of funny, though, because your business we're dealing with small business here.
Yes.
This is not one big realtor company that owns everything. I would be willing to bet you that most of the people that are here today are just small businesses like me. I mean, I'm really small, but I mean, you're really a small business that's trying to make it every day.
Well, and in the real estate business, as independent contractors, no matter which firm you work for, we like to say at Louisiana Realtors, we've got 14,800 small business owners that are members. I mean, there's just...
we got that many just in Louisiana that actually, when you say realtors, that means they have a realtor's license?
No, they are, that is an addition. I mean, there are real estate licensees and then there are realtors, which is a higher standard. So there are 14,800 realtors.
Wow.
The largest trade association in Louisiana.
Wow. I'm about to say, that's pretty big. You're blowing me away on the numbers. I start thinking the 64 parishes. And you got 14,000 plus realtors. I mean, that's a lot.
A lot of realtors.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition out there, too.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about the market. I know this may be a little bit off subject a little bit, but I'm going to throw it at you. Talk a little bit about the market in Louisiana right now.
Okay.
And when I say the market in Louisiana, maybe you can only talk about your area.
Sure.
But maybe you can talk a little bit about, being the president, about what's going on in Louisiana in the housing market.
So Louisiana Realtors does a very good job of tracking the housing statistics in multiple areas of the state, mainly the 9 associations that we have within Louisiana. And so it is different in every market. I will tell you that in one market in particular, I was reported last month, they had a low inventory. I mean, there were very few homes available for sale in a given price range. In my market, which is driven by Fort Polk, we have a built-in cycle of business based on who PCS is in and out. So they're different all over. I would say that by and large in 2018, things were slower than they were in 2017, but certainly not bad. The projections for 2019 from the National Association of Realtors show that housing, although it will not be booming, will also not be bust. It should be pretty stable. So more steady and slow. That's not always
bad. Steady's not bad. I mean, you get an idea of what you have to do. And
correct.
I mean, we wish we were steady in all prices. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's determined by so much more.
Absolutely.
Economy, I guess, determines what part of the country you're in.
Absolutely.
You'd rather be stable than going backwards.
Correct. That's correct. And the effect that the interest rate has, that the Fed sets, the effect that has on the availability of people to borrow money and buy homes certainly affects the market as well. So that's a much more macro issue.
Well, that was the next question. When you're in Louisiana, I was talking to a car dealership, and they was telling us the FICO scores with some of the people just are really hard to get everybody in a vehicle that wants to get in a vehicle. Mm-hmm. I would think that would have to lean a little bit in your market as well, just because of Louisiana's economy, which our economy has struggled.
Sure.
It's just really, let's just be blunt. There's some areas better than others, as we know, but overall, we got some areas that are not doing as well. So I would think, you're looking at the FICO scores. I mean, if you go to Texas, they're just a lot higher.
Yes.
And I would think that's a struggle for you guys, because all you're doing is trying to make a deal between the buyer
and the seller.
Mm-hmm. So to do that, everything has to fall in place.
That's correct.
That's tough. And that's what y'all do, though. That y'all make it easy for people that say, look, I want to find a house, and you pick me up and say, hey, Moon, I got 4 houses I want to show you today.
Sure.
That makes it easy.
Well, and it's
for us, not for you, but
absolutely.
For us.
Well, and it's an interesting dynamic as a realtor, because we do so much more than open doors. In other words, we are sage data analysts. We end up being therapists. We end up doing things and being involved in situations that, most people don't share on the street. But we are here to help them make and protect the largest investment of their life. When you think about it, buying a home is the biggest investment they will make. So we're there to safeguard that, and also to help them navigate the process. And that does include navigating climates where the interest rate may not be as favorable as it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, we're speaking of Logan Morris, 2019 president of Louisiana Realtors. I'm here. Opportunity to speak to them today. I'm looking forward to it. A great group of men and women. I've already met some of them. One of them took a picture. They already put it on Facebook. I used to live in Monroe. And Deanna came in here and took a picture. And I'm telling you, she walked out. I sat down, and she must have posted it, because my buddy said, where are you? Where are you? And I said, I'm in Lake Charles. I said, we're doing a deal with the Realtors, Louisiana Realtors. And he said, well, Deanna just posted a picture of you. I wanted to know where you were at. She said, good friends with my wife.
Gotcha.
So I just thought, wow, that was quick. Social media moves fast.
It moves very quickly. Moves very, very quickly.
Personally, I would not put a picture with me.
Oh, come on.
Anywhere. I wouldn't do it. But that's just me. Logan Morris, my special guest. By the way, you said something earlier, y'all realtors, and I mentioned people that are licensed. Mm-hmm. There's a difference, right?
There is a difference.
Okay, because, I mean, I know people that go get, and by the way, I'm not cutting anybody. I'm just saying I know people that go get a realtor license.
Sure.
But they never really they never really hook up with a company.
Sure.
Or work for that company. They may do it on the side, things of that. That's just a different deal. They can do that, but that's not what you guys do. Y'all provide a full service for people, I think is what
that
you're
is correct.
tell me.
So out of the 20,000 real estate licensees in Louisiana, roughly, there are only 14,800 realtors. And the primary difference for realtors is that we adhere to a much higher standard of professionalism than a real estate licensee does. In other words, we have a full code of ethics that we agree to adhere to that really fosters the intent of our profession, which is to protect private property rights, as well as being fair and honest with all parties in the transaction. That includes both the realtor you're working with, the seller that they're working with, and the buyer that you're working with. So it gives you
a lot of components.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Logan Morris, my special guest. I'm going to let him hang around for another segment, about 7-8 minutes. I got, as I talk to you, more questions are popping in my head. I'm just curious about some things.
Sure.
So, Logan Morris, my special guest. I'm here at Louisiana Realtors. I'm going to say their convention, or am I saying that right?
Learning to Lead Conference.
That is, Learning to Lead Conference. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I saw that coming in there. I meant to write that down, but Learning to Lead Conference. So we'll take a break, be back with them. Hickson has a hotline if you want to be part of the program. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Oh, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show on the road in beautiful Lake Charles, Louisiana, with our conjunction with our good friends at KAOK 1400 Super Talk. We are here with the Louisiana Realtors, and we'll be here till 11 o'clock during the program, and then they got a lunch, and I'll speak at. I'm looking forward to doing that, too. Logan Morris, my special guest right now, 2019 president of Louisiana Realtors, and we're just talking about the ins and outs of the realty business. And Deanna just walked in and made my point without mentioning names about just having a license and saying, boy, that looks easy. Anybody can do it. That looks fun. I can make a lot of money. It doesn't just work that way.
Doesn't work that way at all, no.
No, not at all. So, what's your goals in this meeting y'all having with the people that are here today?
So the Learning to Lead Conference is the kickoff of our annual meetings for realtors. So we'll have a board meeting on Thursday, but everything that we are teaching right now, which they get continuing ed credit for, is geared toward learning about association management and best practices. So what that means is that within the 9 associations in Louisiana, each of them has a local president and a local board of directors. And so we're really trying to train them to be better at their job, because the more local you get, the more competitive you are. So I don't really compete with a realtor in New Orleans, but I compete with one that's from DeRidder, Louisiana, just south of me. But we still have to work together to promote the code of ethics and pathways to professionalism.
Fist fights out.
That's what fist fights are out. That's right. Yeah.
Cursing in public against each other in a public video, that's probably out there.
We have committees for that.
Everybody has a committee for something. No, it's just interesting how you have to. But let's talk a little bit about something I brought up. A little bit more detail, how this is really small business at its best.
It is.
And what I mean by that is, look, I deal with small businesses way more than I deal with big business. And I am a small business. My show is actually a business, too. There's the show side and there's the business side. I got to make both of them work. And so I understand cash flow and employees and payroll. And I tell people all the time, I understand, I got to go get a line of credit to meet payroll. Somebody didn't pay me.
Sure.
Not cutting anybody. I'm just telling you, in the real world of small business, you crawl before you walk.
Absolutely.
And then when you walk, maybe before you run. Sure. Now, there are people that got lucky and they hit it big and they were really good at it. Well, I'm impressed by those people. But most small businesses, in the one year and two, when they get into it and they become a realtor and they got the big name on there, it becomes it's a job, it's a work, and people don't understand building a small business is not easy.
It is not, and we always like to say it in the realtor business that we wake up every day without a job. In other words, you get up every day and you're working toward the next transaction, because in a commission sales-based business, you don't make any money unless you sell anything.
You do realize you're looking at a commission guy.
Absolutely.
I don't even look at it, and people in my business don't look at it as a sale. It's when you collect the money.
Absolutely.
Selling it sometimes easy.
Absolutely.
It's the transaction and the money and stuff that has to come in. And I've been a commission salesman in this business all my life. Well, I've never worked for a company. And it shows. I never had any radio experience. I mean, this is all trial and error, fall down, slip. I didn't fall. I'd fall down 2 flights of stairs and have to go back up.
Sure.
But a lot of people do in business.
They do. And it's funny you mentioned that. I serve as a volunteer leader for Louisiana Realtors, but I'm also a full-time practicing realtor. I showed 271 houses last year, and I sold several of those too. But I worked full time. I had a transaction that closed, a house that closed this past week that went under contract January a year ago. So paid
a lot of work,
nothing between now and then. And there was dozens of reports, dozens of on-site visits, lots of late-night telephone calls with the buyers. How am I going to get through this, et cetera? So, I mean, you are a counselor in that regard.
But see, Logan, this is, and of course, I'm sure you don't get to hear me a whole lot, but this is what we do on a program where we talk about business, and why I get so frustrated at taxes and regulations. It stifles. And on top of that, look at all you have to do before the sale's made and money switches hands.
Yes.
That happens in every small business.
It does.
It's not just the realtors.
Nope.
It's mine. It's every small business. And I want people to realize that, because most people will never own a business.
No.
So when they say, this mindset of, boy, if you're a business owner, you're rich. Well, I'm still looking for mine. I wish I could go down to the legislature. They always find a few $100 million over here and over there. I don't never find that in my house. I looked in my cushion thinking I could have some money in there. There was no money.
Sure.
I found some things my kids shouldn't have put in there, but that didn't help me none. But that's small business, and y'all are no different than anybody else. It's a lot of work to build a small business.
It is. It is.
People think that, he's in business, he's rich.
Well, and that's really
Deanna's
where
filthy rich. Look at over there, laugh.
Well, when you go get your real estate license, you have to learn the license law in Louisiana and the do's and don'ts and the legalities of that. But it does not teach you how to sell real estate. And you surround yourself with...
That's on-job training.
That's correct.
Right,
it is. And being affiliated with a broker who is a realtor, or becoming a realtor, really helps you take your business to the next level.
You're making me feel bad. I did my radio program all the wrong way. I didn't have a mentor. When I walked into the radio program and he said, "Okay, go," and I went, now it's real. And I went, "What did I say?" He said, "Well, tell everybody hi." I said, "Okay." I never was shy, but don't get me wrong. It was still, I didn't have that mentor. I stumble more than most.
Well, and it means so much.
That's what I'm saying. What you're talking about doing, getting a realtor, getting your license, but becoming a realtor or working for a realtor, you can really learn from the people that's been
Absolutely.
around.
Absolutely.
I would recommend doing that, not like I did it.
You're doing okay.
I'm living, man, but it's been an uphill climb, but it's been fun every step of the way. And even the falls have ended up being fun. Logan Morris, 2019 President, Louisiana Realtors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Moon.
All right, we got Norman Morris coming next, and CEO of Louisiana Realtors. Y'all not Ken, I hope.
We are.
We're lucky guess.
That's telling you.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. Oh, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show on the road again in beautiful Lake Charles, Louisiana. We are here at the Louisiana Realtors. They do a conference where they're teaching people to lead, and I think that's a neat deal. They got a bunch of people here, and I am joined now by the CEO of Louisiana Realtors, Mr. Norman Morris. First of all, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Moon. Good morning.
Yeah, I was thinking that Logan was going to say that was my dad and my uncle, but no, y'all kind of distant.
We are cousins. Shreveport, from where I'm from, born and raised, and, of course, Logan from Leesville, Louisiana.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tell us, you're the CEO. Were you not there when they voted you in? Is that what happened? That's what normally happens in this deal. You happen not to be there. They call you, say, congratulations, you're the CEO.
It's so funny, Moon. I started in 1996 with Louisiana Realtors and did all their legislative and governmental affairs for about 17, 18 years. And over the last 4 or 5 years have been the CEO of this great organization in the state of Louisiana.
Well, and by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, because you're a lobbyist, basically, lobbying for your industry, which people don't understand lobbying sometimes, that if you don't have people lobbying down it, I get mad at lobbyists a lot of times, and we're looking at Washington, D.C. and money, but you got to have lobbyists or they'll walk over you. And I mean that sincere. I mean, that's you got to have them. Or legislators will walk over people. And you had the experience. I mean, you had to go back and forth, wheeling and dealing somewhat to work with those people.
Yes, particularly as a realtor community, our issues stretch across a wide array of topics, dealing with property rights, taxes, and so forth. So we are heavily involved in the legislative process at Louisiana Realtors, but the beauty of our organization is that we have a grassroots network of 14,800 realtors in the state of Louisiana who are the face of the local communities. So they know everything that's going on locally, and they actually help us advocate on behalf of their clients and customers they serve.
Y'all got a threefold there. You not only work with local, in local municipalities. You got to work with state, and you got stuff that comes out from the federal government sometime that you guys have got to be involved in too.
Well, you know how flood insurance is such an important issue in Louisiana. Just a few weeks ago, the flood insurance shut down for a couple days, and we had to rally the troops, the realtors, and the realtors were the driving force to get flood insurance back where the program was up and running, because if flood insurance is not out there and available, and it's running at 40,000 transactions a month nationwide, don't happen. So those are the kind of things that realtors fight for and make sure that their clients and customers have that ability to freely purchase, sell all types of real property.
Well, you know the political process because you've been involved in it. You understand it, ins and outs. And you mentioned shutdown. That's something they're real good in Washington about doing, shutting down.
Yep, that's it.
Unfortunately for other people to shut down, and I got my own thoughts, but we won't even go there on that. But you also have to deal with you got to deal with property owners. You have to, I guess, kind of lobby for them somewhat too.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Because of the business you're in, I kind of think and that's why I want people to understand this. When we say lobby, it's, we're lobbying for property owners too. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that's important that the average person out there knows somebody is really fighting for their property rights.
We're a voice for the property owners and the consumers out there that own and want to own real estate. I'll give you an example, Moon. In 2011, we spearheaded a transfer tax prohibition in our Constitution. Other states, can you believe this, Moon? Other states would impose a transfer tax on the sale of property. Say if the house was $100,000, buyers and sellers would have to pay 1% of that value at the closing table on top of everything else they pay.
And you know this, too. Anybody that's ever bought a house or sold one, it's an ordeal. And the paperwork keeps getting thicker. Am I correct by saying that? And so it becomes an ordeal. And they were going to add another 1 cent on top of that. When you already, I would say not all, but most people that buy homes, especially younger people, especially first-time home buyers, they're in for a hoot. They're getting ready to spend more money than they thought they were going to spend when it comes to transactions. So it is a big deal. 1% don't sound like much, but on a $200,000 home, you're talking about another, $2,000?
Or even a small business owner looking to purchase a building for their new business.
Didn't even think about the business owner.
So we went to the legislature and spearheaded a prohibition, a constitutional amendment that says no more ever in the state of Louisiana will there ever be a transfer tax placed on buyers and sellers in a real estate transaction.
Wow. And by the way, thank you for that, because that is a big deal. And I was going to go there, but the businesses, because, businesses fight for their lives every day in Louisiana. And I don't mean that ugly. I mean it honestly. That we fight for our lives, and I take my hats off to the Realtors Association and other businesses, how hard it is to make a living and to fight to keep your business going. You don't need things like that on people. I talk to people in the car business, and it probably happens in your business too when you're buying a home. Interest rates matter when you're buying a home. Interest rates matter when you're buying a vehicle. So you got all that, you got all this other stuff they put on you. It gets difficult.
Well,
but that deal, I mentioned earlier to Logan, you got a deal made, and there's always something that can go wrong. I know in the back of your mind going, boy, I hope this deal makes. And because it could be a credit. It could be too much down payment. I need too much down payment. It could be anything like that to stop a deal that y'all already got made.
Absolutely. It can be the smallest things that can delay the process from someone getting into their home. And Moon, a home is just a place where families can come together and prosper. And it's an investment for the future. We believe, and you look at the records, an investment in a piece of real property is one of the best investments an individual can make over the long term.
All right. You mentioned something there about first-time home buyer tax credit. You mentioned it maybe after the election or whatever. What are you looking at trying to do?
What we would like to do is if we could set up an account for individuals, for first-time home buyers, could put up to $7,500 into an account, and once they went to the closing table and closed on their transaction, the state would give them that money back or up to $7,500 on their closing costs, because we found that getting into a home, the biggest impediment is that cash to be able to get into the home, the down payment.
Throw another 1% on that. That's what you were talking about earlier. I know, because I was a first-time homeowner. But even now, you don't even have to be a first-time homeowner. You may want to move up a little bit, and you go, I got it, we got this, we got a down payment, and all of a sudden you look up, and there's just so many things that can go wrong. And you guys, that's a tough job to make all that work.
It is. You got to be very talented, and our realtor members are the best. So when you're out there looking to buy and sell real estate, you want to look for that realtor R behind their name and use that individual that has that brand, the realtor, adheres to the code of ethics, as Logan alluded to earlier, a strict code of ethics.
Okay. We got elections this year, and I'm not asking who you're voting for governor, okay? I'm not going to do that to you, but how do y'all get involved in elections? Okay, once again, you got a lobbying group, you got a group, you've done it, you got a group that you want to be involved. Can I ask you what kind of candidates you're looking for? Not in race and color and Republican, Democrat, but what are you trying to do if you get involved in elections?
Well, we do have a Louisiana Realtors Political Action Committee that is governed by our members, and what we try to do is we try to find those men and women that want to move the state forward in a positive direction, that have that sense of what's good for small business, what's good for business in general, and that will help move the economy. We want men and women that look to bring businesses into Louisiana, but also to expand the existing businesses we have.
Don't you think, though, and I've always said this, if you look at Louisiana businesses, and I'll take your business, if everybody could hire one new person that above what you had, just one, and they did well, that would set Louisiana's economy on fire. Every business, thousands and thousands of businesses. So I think it's more important for you to expand by a person or two than it is to go out here and buy a company. I do. I've always thought that. Right. If I could hire somebody this year making real good money, I've helped. You did too. Deanna did. Everybody did too. And every business out there would be better than us saying, okay, we got this company coming in. Let's help spend some money. It's really important to protect what's here.
I agree totally, and that's what we try to focus in on. And I'm optimistic, Moon, about Louisiana. I know we've got our challenges, obviously, but I think what we want to do is try to bring that core group and help elect those individuals that really understand what business is about, what Louisiana could be, and move it forward in a positive direction.
So you sound like me, and I do. I get on their rear ends, but I've always said this. We need pro-business from the governor through the legislature that understands moving businesses forward, not just state government forward. And I think that's where we miss out. We need people that really want to do this, not people that talk it, but that would do it. Because our business climate could be so much better. We got quality people here. We got good people here. I just hate that a lot of them move, and they don't have to. Hold on, we'll be back. Norman Morris, CEO of Louisiana Realtors. I do have a question for you. I read in the paper the other day in Monroe about a property tax for ULM. I actually read that story and I went, huh? So anyway, maybe you can touch upon that. Anyway, we'll be right back. Norman Morris, my special guest, Louisiana Realtors, KAOK. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. We're on the road again to Lake Charles, Louisiana. And, of course, we're here visiting with the Louisiana Realtors. We visited with CEO of Louisiana Realtors, Mr. Norman Morris, and we're talking a little bit about real estate, but about business and lobbyists, and we're kind of covering some different subjects. And he'll be with me until the top of the hour. I got one more guest we'll visit with in the second hour as well. Norman, I mentioned this. I saw this. I've already contacted some people in Monroe, and I was, I graduated at ULM, which Northeast at the time, and I don't want nothing to happen to the university. I hope it lasts a long time. But there's a property tax that was being discussed, putting it on the ballot. I want to say it was not the school board, the police jury, because I think it'd be a parish-wide tax issue about supporting a university, and I was almost floored when I saw something like that, because I don't know where that's been done anywhere in our state, but I don't know if that's ever been done in the country. This your thought, because you're talking about property taxes. We're talking about y'all lobby for property rights. This doesn't look real good. I'm just kind of curious if y'all had a stand on it, or just talk a little bit about something like this.
Well, we work through our local Northeast Louisiana Association of Realtors back home in the Monroe area, in the Ouachita Parish area, and we've not, Moon, heard of this kind of proposal anywhere around the country. So it's the first idea we've heard, and where the police jury would vote to put a tax on the ballot. I believe it was 5 mills over 30 years or something like that for the monies to go to ULM. So we just, in general, I know the realtors there in the Northeast area, they just don't think this is good tax policy as you move forward and look at how you do things in the future to fund certain specific items. So I know our realtors are engaged up there with all parties involved, trying to convince the police jury maybe to think and go in a different direction.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Once again, I said you guys, y'all got a group in a realtor association, but there goes the part about you worried about the property, the tax owner, the property owner.
Right.
You're concerned about what happens with those guys. Something like that looks far-fetched to pass, but, I've seen things pass before you thought would never pass.
That's right.
And that concerns you because, once again, and another property. I just don't know. I don't know how everybody's going to pay all these taxes one day because of the, we got unfunded accrued liability in the state is about $22 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money. We never address stuff like that. We don't address roads. There's a lot of things we don't address. And I just think, another tax, it can't be good for your business. It can't be good for the realtors.
Right. And obviously the Northeast Realtors are heavily involved in this process and are working with all parties involved, and particularly trying to represent that property owner in the Ouachita Parish area. There may be a need next year that there's something that really needs, the sewer systems or infrastructure needs that the city would want. So you would think they would, come back again next year and ask for another private tax to help that, which is greatly needed. And ULM's a great, great school.
All
of our universities
I loved it
are
up
great
there when I was up there for a long time.
I have some great friends from ULM. I was a Louisiana Tech graduate, but I loved ULM.
We're not going to hold that against you.
That's right.
I didn't cut his mic off because he said that.
But our schools are wonderful. We have wonderful institutions in this state, and ULM is one of those as well. So we certainly it's done a lot of great good.
My concern, and I told you off there, was that do we have enough economy to fund all the stuff they want to do, the elected officials want to do, and that's where I run into problems with them. It's just hard to fund everything that they want to do. And you got to have the economy. You're talking about, saving a little bit of money here and saving a little bit of money there. Small businesses thrive off a rolling economy. And that's what I want to see it happen. I want it to be easier for you, but business is not easy. I don't care if you're in the good times. You still have to make things work. And you guys have done that for many, many years. Talk a little bit about celebrating 100 years. How long have you been in this? And it's got to be a big deal, 100 years in anything. I mean, you think of 10 years in something, it's a lot.
It is.
100 years is really big time.
And, you go back 100 years, and you've got to look at it's about the people, the realtors that made this organization up from day one in 1919. And you go through time, and they're good people. They're the community back home. They are the face of every local community in the state, and that's the realtor member. And they've made it happen. They get up every day. They work extremely hard on behalf of their clients and customers, and they do what's right. And they care about their communities, and they care about the state of Louisiana.
You said 1919, so I'm sure we don't have many people around that remember the start of this. That's 100 years. I mean, that's been a long, long time. So probably don't have any original members that's still kicking around because that was a long time ago. So, but y'all kind of celebrating that while y'all here as well.
We are. We're going to be doing that here. And throughout this year, we're going to highlight in every community the 100th year of excellence of Louisiana Realtors and what the realtor brings to the transaction, value added for the clients and consumers they serve.
We talked about a first-time home buyer. Boy, I tell you what, I just remember buying it the first time, and most people that buy a first home don't even know if they're going to have enough money. You're scrapping every penny. My mom told me the story. We moved about 8 houses down. My daddy owned an acre, so he built a house. And I remember moving. She said she did not know how she was going to make it. She had 5 kids. You got to go back. Say I'm 57. You got to go back. I was a first grader. So let's go back 51 years. They've been in a new house. And she didn't know how they were going to put the down payment. Well, they figured that out. And then the house note was about $100 more than it was. So it went from $94 to $194 for their home. It's about 3,000 square foot. We laugh at that now, but back then you just didn't make as much money, and their house note took about a quarter, 20% of what Daddy and Mama made probably, back then because you just didn't make as much money. It's relevant now, but it just costs a lot more money, but you got to have a lot more money to put down. What do you think? Is there any other legislation besides this that you're looking at trying to do? This is the big one.
That was a big one, and I'll tell you, last year, Moon, we stepped up, and there was an attempt to place a sales tax on professional services.
Yeah, I saw that. That was almost depressing to watch them try to do that.
And we kind of worked with other business groups in the state, professionals, obviously, to make sure that didn't occur, because that would have really been a hard hit against small businesses in the profession.
That's the second time they tried to do that. When Jindals, I want to say it's last year, they tried to do this big tax reform. And one of the problems we had with it was going to do sales taxes on all these professional businesses that you don't have sales taxes on. And that means every one of those sales taxes would move down to eventually the person. And so that would have hurt you. It was going to be lawyers, radio advertisement, all this stuff we never did, which we don't need to do. It's just that they're always looking for money. So they start grabbing things, just kind of like the ULM deal. And I'm glad y'all out there because we need lobbyists out there. That's what I tell people. Don't cut all the lobbyists. You better have some lobbyists out there fighting for you.
That's correct, and we are the voice of real estate in Louisiana, Moon, and we certainly are. We're going to do our part as Louisiana Realtors to move our state forward and to send a message out there that, you know, business is good for the state. We want to continue that. We want to grow business. We want to bring people into the state of Louisiana, and we want to continue to grow our communities and the state.
Yeah, I think there needs to be, and I'll say this, and I'm not involved in chambers, but I know chambers have a good place, and they do. In areas they do a good job, but I would always tell people, let's quit worrying about the grand slam and the home run on the big job that we might get or we may never get. We've seen that happen. I know, Deanna, I tell you, we had a car plant coming and then another car plant coming and it never came. And Shreveport did the same thing. It had a car plant coming and it never came. If we would focus more on what we have and promote what we have, I think we would be better off. And that means that we have to be helped by the governor and the legislature, too. And then local government, they need to understand it's not unlimited money out there for people just to go spend. And so I wish there was a way to promote our local businesses a little better. Because really, I'm a little different. I hate to order something on the Internet. If I could drive up in my local community, I live in Lafayette, I ain't worried about price. I'd rather go get it at the house. Some people worry about a nickel. They order something off the Internet. Well, those local businesses suffer. Then we suffer with taxes that go to roads and things like that. So I just wish we did a better job, not y'all, of promoting local businesses. Buy local. If you can't find it in Lafayette or Monroe, then call somebody in another part of the state. If you can't buy it in the state, then I understand buying something out. But promotion of the local businesses is big.
Sure, absolutely.
Anything else you want to add?
Just want to say we appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk to your wonderful audience about Louisiana Realtors, what we've done, what we do, what we're going to continue to do for the next 100 years, and that's to provide excellence for buyers and sellers in the real estate transaction. Yeah,
I would highly recommend if you're looking for a home or business and you want to make a business transaction or sale, get a realtor. I would say that real quick. They're going to be the best bet. All right, Norman Moore, CEO of Louisiana Realtors. We'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll visit with another young lady dealing with the Realtors Association. And so you're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hello, welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you back with us. 844-766-6607 is the Hickson Has It hotline. You can always get us on the Hickson Has It hotline, hicksonhasit.com. And, of course, we're here at the Louisiana Realtors Association. They got a L.E.A.D deal that they're working with. Leadership conference that they're working with people with today. And I think y'all were here yesterday and today, if I'm correct.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow till noon.
Okay. So I didn't know that. I thought it was done today. Anyway, I've met some fine people here. You're hearing right now is Miss Drew Ellender. She's the 2019 Southwest Louisiana Realtors President and Sulphur City Council member. You know, I knew one of your mayors of Sulphur. I cannot remember his name. Right? John, he was there when Rita and all that came in.
Ron Lalo.
That's right. Ron was in Monroe for a while.
A very good friend of mine.
Yeah, yes. Ron's a great guy. We knew Ron from the Monroe area for a while. And he moved down here, and I looked up one day, and I was down here doing a program, and here comes Ron, and I found out Ron is the mayor.
Yes.
I didn't even know. We talked and visited, and I'm so bad on names, but Ron, that's him.
Yeah, we graduated the same year from high school.
Now, is Ron still in the area?
He is still in Sulphur.
Okay, he's not the mayor. Is he still working, retired, or do you even know?
He was in the insurance business before he was mayor, and then he was in it again. But he writes books and
that sounds like him, though. That sounds just like him.
He does some genealogy stuff he's always telling me about. So.
Well, you got to make sure you tell him I said hi and I mentioned him on the name because that's my producer's messing with me real quick.
Okay.
Anyway, tell us now you are Southwest Louisiana Realtor President, so you're more of the local. What is your job? What do you do?
We're the Southwest Louisiana Association of Realtors. I'm the president-elect for 2019. And my job, we run the business of the association, basically, and we represent the members try to make sure we change the procedures or whatever to fit our membership.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's so you got to do a role. You also a city councilman, and you do this.
Yeah. And we also protect the public too. In our job.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How difficult is it being a local elected official and doing this too, or do you feel like it helps because if something comes up, you can catch it pretty quick?
Well, it helps me. Because, for one thing, it helps me with the Association of Realtors because I know what's going on in the sulfur business. And it also helps me, being a realtor, to help, sometimes things come up with the realtors, and I definitely want to help the real estate industry to keep going.
Now, you're in a unique part of the state. When we hear about economies doing well, they always point to the Lake Charles sulfur economy, LNGs, and the plants and the stuff. And by the way, I go down to sulfur because I go down to Hackberry and go fishing all the time. And Stein has been an advertiser with us for many, many years. So I do come over here a pretty good little bit. Talk about economy. How's it been different from y'all? I know when we have a hurricane, housing was tough. I know when Rita came through, and I think y'all had one since. Didn't y'all have another one?
Rita and then Ike. I think Ike was a couple of years after Rita.
So how has it affected y'all's market? Because with the new plants and LNGs and all that stuff, how's the market now? Is it on fire? Because that's what we hear. Over here, everything's really kicking.
They say the economy is good. We went to a little meeting at McNeese. And the economist came in and he told us how good it's going to be, and it's projected to be good for the next 2 to 5 years.
But have y'all seen that? You're in a realtor business.
Right. When Rita hit, it was a devastation for everybody.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad storm.
Then we got very busy at the end of 2005 through probably 2007, 2008, finding people new homes, selling their old homes. It made it busy.
Made it tough. It was busy, but it was tough.
It was very tough on the realtors because, we really want to help someone. We're not in this business to stomp the little man. We try to help.
But back in those days, and that's why I brought it up. I knew you could talk about it. But back in those days, they just weren't a lot of homes for you to find to go sell. Am I correct?
That's right. We had to hustle up and find people who... I went to doors. Would you sell your house? Yes, I will. We went to doors and did that, but we pretty much helped people get back on their feet and get into rentals or do what we could. It was very tough because, in fact, you want to put that behind you. I can't even remember some of it.
Let's fast forward to now. And I'm guessing on this, but I'm just going to throw it out at you. I'm guessing there are builders all over that have come in. New subdivisions are popping up. New areas is that happening?
That is happening. Okay. We have two developments in Sulphur and one trying to come in, and people are buying those homes. It's movement, and it's a need for them. People are moving.
So you don't really have a lot of excess homes out there that you can go sell right now. You got some, but it's not excess for the simple reason is people are still trying to move. And if the economy, quote, does what they tell us it's going to do over the next 2 to 5 years, that means you'll probably have people moving here to work.
Right. They're projecting several more projects that haven't started yet that are right about to start. So, yes, we expect more. However, the new developments are hurting some of the older homes being sold. I find they're being on the market a little longer. Now, right now, between October and December, I would say we had a lull in our market. I don't know why, because we were still moving. But you know how sometimes they stop the hiring and all that in those months. So that could have been it. But now I'm seeing it picking back up.
Are you seeing more movement? Because I was always curious about the economy over here. You seeing more movement of people here just moving around because they can? Or you seeing more movement because people are coming in and going, hey, I got a job over here and now I need to find a place to live? Or is it a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. Because I see people wanting to sell their older homes, maybe do something bigger or different, or newer.
So but what about the percentage or number of homes that are just for sale? Is there a bunch of homes for sale?
I would say not high enough to worry about right now because these homes are moving. So
you like it to be a lot of homes for sale, or not too many for sale, or just somewhere in between?
I like the not too many, where you're having people come in and they sell faster and there's more people. I like that.
Well, that
makes your owners happier.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. No, I'm just curious because if you got too many, that means things are not happening in your area.
Well,
I just talked to Deandra from Monroe area, and she was saying, the number of homes for sale aren't moving. Mm-hmm. And so I start thinking economy when I hear moving, that's because things are popping and happening. And I know in Lafayette, especially when the oil prices were up, that place hopping, skipping, and jumping. It still does pretty good, I think, but it's down because they lost 15,000 jobs. But they've even though oil and gas is still big there, they've diversified enough to keep things moving. And I don't know. I hadn't talked to the realtor in Lafayette. I met one a while ago, and I wanted to ask him about that and didn't get a chance to really visit with him. But I know in your area, we hear a hot spot for jobs. So that's why I was kind of curious. The housing market is, and according to what you're telling me, it is, and you got new subdivisions coming up and things of that nature, which is good for your business.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it's good for everybody.
Yes, it is.
And you see, the thing about it is that's what manufacturing does. Miss Drew Ellender is my special guest. Manufacturing jobs is really how you create real economic development. It's not somebody say, well, we got 14 new restaurants. Well, you had 6 of them just go out. You got 14, and that's spreading dollars around. Nothing wrong with restaurants. They come because you have somebody with a manufacturing job. That's how they come.
Right.
And so when the manufacturing jobs that are happening over here is a big part of why the economy's changed. And it's in the local realtor or local small business, they benefit from that. They benefit from it big time. So you're probably seeing that.
Yes, and when we benefit, others are going to benefit. When we sell a house, the person buying that house may renovate. They're going out there buying the materials to do that, and it helps us. It helps the economy. We have to pay taxes on what we earn.
Oh yeah,
it helps
government.
It helps government.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little different. I'm more interested in helping people.
Me too.
And then government can get helped on the backside. I'm more worried about the general public, and I know in some areas they don't have the beauty of what you're going through right now.
Right.
Because I think y'all are very healthy over here when it comes to the economy, and that's a good thing. It's just not real healthy in a lot of areas, and that bothers me, but at least for y'all, it seems to be pretty healthy.
As long as I've been in the business, I got in right after the oil slump in the late 80s.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I got in, I thought, it'll last, cycle. It'll be good 10 years maybe, and then it'll cycle and we'll go down. And as long as I've been in this business in this area, it has stayed pretty steady. As far as that goes. In 2010, we started seeing a leveling off and a decline for a couple of years, and then the industry started bringing in their projects. Well,
but in 2010, that was right after the stock market fell and the housing crisis. You remember the market? And I got to believe that part of it is why you slowed down. We had a big housing. We had a market. We had a crisis. The Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all that stuff that was happening.
We did.
It caused home prices to stop and kind of go the other way. And people didn't know what to do with their home. Do I sell it? Do I not sell it? So it became a little bit of a crisis. Y'all were affected by that.
We were. My business was the same that year as it was the year before, but half of my sales fell apart because they couldn't get financing. Yeah. So it was. Was.
Well, let's do this. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to hold you just a few more minutes, bring you back, and wrap up with you. You're my last guest that I have, but I might bring Norman back right at the end to talk a little bit about the event. But talk a little bit about that, because I remember the day, and I remember everybody thought their houses were worth half the money they were before that, and I don't think that really happened that big. But anyway, let's take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hickson has it hotline, 844-766-6607. We'll take a break. Be right back. Oh, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, Ms. Drew Ellender, my special guest, 2019 Southwest Louisiana REALTORS president, and she's also a city councilwoman in South Louisiana. No, going back to the days, and I'm not a history guy, but I really do like history. When you mentioned when it was slow, but that was right after 2008, 2009, and the stock market went down, and they had put all in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac They took all these loans to people that couldn't afford it and mixed them in with all the good loans, and then everything kind of fell apart that time. So I really did. I thought our house would be worth 50% on a dollar. I don't think we saw that in Louisiana. I think we saw a slowdown. I think we saw people backing up, going, whoa, let me see what happens. But if I wanted to buy a house and I could sell mine and get what I wanted, people still did transactions. But you didn't see a big decline in price houses, did you?
No, the price of the houses did not go down. However, sometimes the appraisers would cut the prices, but the price of houses did not go down. People were paying the premium price, probably as a result of Rita. We were still trying to get back up from Hurricane Rita. And
because you're only talking about 5 years after Rita. Rita was 2005, right? 2005.
That's right.
And that's not a lot of time to build. I mean, you're still rebuilding something.
Something else that happened then was a lot of people, they repoed because there was some over the internet, they would get these things saying you don't have to pay your house note for 3 months. And when you don't pay your house note for 3 months,
you might lose your house.
They began to foreclose upon them.
Your credit's not good either.
And so some of that began to happen in 2010 and 2011. A lot of foreclosures came on the market. Well, investors will buy foreclosures, and they were fixing them up. And then our area got the projects coming from the industry. Mm-hmm. And whenever they started, then those investors started selling those homes. So we've never really stopped selling homes in all that time.
Yeah, that was a kind of a double whammy. You get Rita, and then you get the, I call it economic meltdown. I don't know if that should have been, but so you had over a 5-year period, really, not 5 years, 3 years. It was 2008 to 2009, whatever the meltdown, right. 3 or 4 years you were trying to build, and then that hit.
Right.
But once again, that didn't affect. I don't think it affected Louisiana as much as it affected places like California, where they were housing prices were ridiculous anyway.
They were, and it seems like our area is the last to get hit with it, and we're the first to come out of it.
Yeah, and you're probably correct. But just going back to the economy over here, and I'm glad to see it. You got to have manufacturing companies. We lost a plant in Port Hudson, which is a little north of Baton Rouge. I think I'm saying that right. And they're going to lose 700 jobs in the paper mill. Now, if I do what the government does, the state would go, well, it's a multiplier. If you get 700 jobs, and then it's so many indirect and so many direct, indirect, and they add them up, and they add 700 jobs, all of them becomes 2,000 jobs. So I had a friend of mine, he called me the other day and said, we did the multiply if you lost jobs, and it ended up being 700, but they went on and said it was 3,000 because of the multiplier of jobs. And the fact is, we can't afford to lose those manufacturing jobs. Those are the heart and soul of Louisiana. That's why when the oil and gas industry did what it did, because of prices first, and then what the governor and them are suing oil and gas companies. The legacy lawsuits are killing those people. A lot of those people are working in Texas now. You may have some over here, too. I know people that work over here now because of LNG plants, and they got a good job over here. They didn't all go to Houston and Midland and stuff like that, but a lot of them did move this way to get jobs. Those manufacturing jobs like that are paying $80,000, $100,000, $150,000 a year, they're hard to come by.
That's right.
That's why y'all in a neat place right now.
And grateful I am today.
I don't blame you. Look, we're grateful that Lake Charles is helping pull a wagon.
Right.
Because there's a lot of the state that's not able to pull a wagon anymore, and we just need to become a more friendly business state, and I think that would change. That would change the habits of businesses, and businesses can prosper. And if businesses prosper, they can hire people, and we don't have to watch our best and brightest leave anymore.
And our small business is what runs the country.
It runs it all.
And so when you want small business to make it, and we want to support small business here. Well,
you notice small businesses rally around people like manufacturing companies because they can sell to them. Mm-hmm. They got people that work that's going to come do business with them. So it all works together, but small business is the heart and soul of America, and that's why you can't tax them and you can't regulate them to death. You got to let them go out there and be the best they can be.
That's right.
Well, Miss Drew, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Look forward to it. I hope you don't boo me today when I speak.
Oh, no.
Oh, Lord,
You got a friend in me.
I told somebody, one of the gentlemen, I said, look, when I get to a certain time, just let me know and I'll start to wrap up. I said, but don't do like my wife. My wife will come watch me speak. She said, I'll tell you when you need to slow down. You get off the stage. So 2 minutes into my speech, my wife's in the back going. Anyway, all right, we got to take a break. We'll be back. More of the Moon Griffon Show right after this. Don't go nowhere, folks. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, welcome back. Last segment of the day in beautiful Lake Charles. I want to thank Cumulus Broadcast and, of course, KOK for putting up with us for 19 and a half, almost 20 years on April the 1st. Norman, talking a little politics because you were in the deal. Just without getting into much detail and what I think and you think, but at least maybe from your perspective, because with the realtors, we're going to have some changeover. You got term limits. What about that? Because there will be some changeover. And do y'all look for? You mentioned earlier. Do y'all do a questionnaire for these people and see if they answer things like you want them to answer?
We do, and particularly in open races, in open seats where there's not an incumbent. We will really try to work with the local association of realtors and try to learn about the candidates that are going to be entering those races and try to do a full profile on them. Sometimes we interview those candidates to get a better feel for what their stance are on real estate and business issues, and then certainly make a decision at that point to whether to get behind those candidates and support those.
You mentioned a number, 50. Is that how many seats are term limited?
There's going to be a tremendous amount of seats. It's a bunch. It's one of the most ever we've seen, and I think the dynamics are going to change immensely. You're going to have not only the elections this fall for all the 105 House members and the 39 senators, but you're also going to have internal elections for your president of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, which is is an election in itself.
That's going to change because the Speaker of the House is term limited and the Senate President Hilario is term limited. So I know Barra's not going back, but the word is Hilario wants to run the House now. But those will be new. Somebody new is going to be in both of those spots.
And so there will be elections for those. And so it's going to be a new dynamic with a lot of new faces in the legislature in both the House and the Senate. So we have to really do our homework as we gear up for this fall election cycle to really learn about who's out there, who's running, and to really get behind those candidates, as I said, we feel are good for business, good for real estate, and understand the critical role real estate plays for our economy.
Well, I suckered you in on this because I really wanted to get to my big question. Big push for a constitutional convention. I'm one of the few people that are totally against it at this point. I'm worried about who the governor is. I'm worried about how it's going to be set up. There's a lot of worries, but I want to get your take from the association because do y'all have a stand on that right now?
We do
y'all
not.
Y'all hadn't taken a stand on that.
We don't have a position. Obviously, that's been talked about for a long time,
yes.
and certainly, the devils are in the details on that, on how the Constitutional Convention would be set up, who would serve in delegates.
By the way, those are big questions.
They are.
One of the things that I get a little concerned about, I don't want it, and there's several reasons. Does the association have a stand like on homestead exemption?
We do. We think the homestead exemption right now is in good shape where it is, and
I don't think they're touching that, but I'm just asking the question because I really believe that this is what I think the Constitutional Convention is about. You're going to hear the same things I hear. Well, we got to get rid of all this dedicated money. A few years ago, Brett Guyman from this area, Lance Harris from your area, not yours, some of the people tried to get an amendment. We're going to get rid of all dedications. And I'm going to tell you what. They got their rear ends handed to them. They were doing the committees and these people in municipalities, people that were getting supplemental pay, people that were getting all this different money. The MFP is in the Constitution. It's dedicated. The lottery's dedicated education now. I mean, you can go on and on. They had to shut it down. They were getting beat up so bad. I don't think they have a Chinaman's chance, and you know what, to get rid of all those dedications. I don't think they'll get rid of a big percentage, but it's being perceived that's the reason to have it. And, yeah, we got a lot of money dedicated, but there's a reason it's dedicated. People didn't trust the elected officials would put money where they were supposed to.
And I know one thing we're looking at, Moon, if one was ever formed and passed the legislature. And
let me tell you, I know Lobby and some of these people are looking for people to make sure we're going to give you money and help you. And I'm not cutting Lobby. I'm just telling you it's out there. we want to make sure we're having a constitutional convention. So if you want us to support you, we want you to support this. And it really worries me, but go ahead.
And what we've told our members are, if delegates are allowed to serve in a format that was set up, we would encourage our business leaders, our realtor members, to run and support them in different areas, because there's a lot of critical issues within that Constitution that deal with real estate. So we would want our individual realtor members heavily involved in serving in some of those positions if one was passed and one was set up.
Well, I'm telling you, there's a big push for it to have the Constitutional Convention. My worries are the one you mentioned. Who's going? Who's going to be there? How's this going to be set up? That's number one. Number two is talking about this dedicated money, and I'm telling y'all, they got so many people that have dedicated money that if you take that out, when you bring it back to the people, it's going down. So how do you take that out? Number three is the homestead exemption. I understand. Man, Texas don't have the homestead exemption we had, but we're not Texas. But I understand that that's going to be a big fight. The fourth thing is taxes. We raised $7 billion in taxes with a 2/3 vote. They want to bring that back to a majority vote. That bothers me because I think they just raised $7 billion in taxes with 2/3 vote. The other one is term limits. I'm not as big term limit guy as I used to be. I was big for that. I'm not so much for it. I like when somebody gets beat. The problem is it's hard to beat them. I think those things in general are going to be what you're going to see happen and the last thing, I guess, is tax reform. If tax reform means that I'm going to have to pay more in taxes, and people will pay more in taxes, and businesses will pay more in taxes, to me that's not tax reform. Just your thought. I gave you a lot.
I think you're right. I think the Constitutional Convention will continue to be talked about and looked at. I think tax reform is also another key issue that you're going to hear a lot about in the media and the press within the legislature.
But it's got to be the right tax reform. You agree with me on that? I know. It can't be just you and me pay more taxes.
And infrastructure. You've heard the infrastructure with roads, bridges, and so forth, which is critical to move business and transit around the state, so it's a critical need.
The road tax, and we can talk a little bit more because I'm going to keep you around for the last segment. The road tax is the one that bothers me too. Now, I know we got to pay taxes to fix our roads. I'm the first one to tell you I should pay them. We pay 20 cents. Texas pays 20 cents. They got good roads. We don't. Well, it's different. They have toll roads. Okay, why don't we look at toll roads? You see what I'm saying? We have not kept up with roads for one reason. It's never been a priority. If you just go back and look at the time program, they fixed 7, 8 roads out of 14. They can't even maintain them. And so what's the confidence that we're going to have in somebody if we give them another 10 cent or 20 cent that they're going to fix the roads? Unfunded accrued liability is another one that's really have a problem. We got a lot of situations. So I understand people wanting the Constitutional Convention. Just not understand how it's going to work. Because I know I probably won't get to be a delegate. Somebody said you could run. I said, find out how much people don't like me. No, I ain't going to do that. We're going to take a break, but I want to come back and visit a little bit more about that. Homestead exemption is one of the ones that a lot of people in the business community would like to see that go away just because of business taxes. So let's take a break. We'll come back and visit with Mr. Norman Morris a few more minutes and get back to the convention, the conference as well. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. By the way, welcome back. Last segment of the day in beautiful Lake Charles. I want to thank Cumulus Broadcast and, of course, KOK for putting up with us for 19 and almost 20 years on April the 1st. By the way, April Fool's Day. I don't know if they were the fool I was, but anyway, April Fool's Day. But we do appreciate the folks over here. We love coming over here. And, of course, we've been visiting with the Louisiana Realtors, and we're now visiting with Norman Morris, and we talk a little politics. We'll go back to the other thing. And I was visiting with you about the Constitutional Convention. That's why I was just curious. So y'all hadn't really taken a stand on that.
No, we have not taken a position on that issue.
And I'm taking it in your membership because you have a lot. There's probably going to be people all over the board.
Right.
Somebody's going to want it. Somebody's not going to want it. Somebody's going to think it's good. Somebody's going to think it's bad. But it will matter if it comes to that. Who's in charge of that? I think you said that at the beginning. That's going to probably be the most important thing. Who's there? But I would think anything that comes out of a Constitutional Convention, as you know, the voters got to approve it. So they're going to have to come out with something they can sell. And if it gets to be too complex, I think people vote it down. It's got to be explainable to people, I think, to be able to vote to change. Because you're talking about, we changed the Constitution, all these constitutional amendments. And I don't even know if y'all take stands on some of them. I guess periodically you do.
We do, and there's been, I think somebody said yesterday, over 300 and something amendments to the Constitution since 1974. We did, and the example I gave you earlier was the prohibition on the real estate transfer taxes. And we had to spend, after we got that through the legislature, we had to spend a considerable amount of dollars to explain that vote to the public. You had to vote yes to say no to future taxes. So ballot language can be very difficult at times. So we had to get out and make it simplified.
But that's what I guess frustrates people with me with elected officials. Don't put something on there where it's very, you can read it and you can understand it. When you got to say vote yes to get no, that's kind of tough. It's tough to sell against it as well. I'm sure then you got to spend money that you shouldn't have to spend.
Right.
Because you guys got to come up with the money to spend all this, too.
That's right. And so we ended up, we were very fortunate, had a great team, member-wise, realtor-wise, pushing this. I mean, realtors were out all over the state. They went to churches, Rotary clubs, putting signs up, and they were trying, and we ended up getting around 81% of the vote to ban those future taxes in the state of Louisiana.
Well, y'all did a great job. I remember the amendment. Y'all did an excellent job on that, and I'm glad y'all did that because we didn't need any more fees or anything else on a transaction. What if you talk to your association, let's look at it from a positive perspective. We got good people, we got hardworking people, we got creative people. What would you like to see happen that you believe, just 2 or 3 things that you think would help businesses do really, really well in the state of Louisiana? I'm just saying, name 2, 3, 5, 1, whatever, that you think if we could just do a couple of 3 things, I think it would help the current businesses and maybe attract businesses to come without doing exemptions and all that stuff that we do.
I think from the real estate side, and that's where my expertise is, from the real estate businesses, I think, if we could cut down the amount of regulation sometimes and the amount of those kinds of things that a business owner in the real estate business has to go through to make a transaction come to fruition for both the buyers and the sellers. We also want to make those regulations and those barriers for consumers easier to get into the real estate market, to be able to invest, buy a home, or even buy a business building for their business. So that's a major one. And then obviously we want to make sure that the laws in the state of Louisiana are conducive and incentivize buyers and sellers to purchase and sell real estate.
Yeah, I keep thinking of y'all as, when I think of realtors and real estate, a lot of times I think about the individual, the family guy, the families. But really, I keep forgetting, y'all deal with a lot of business transactions, big businesses, big buildings, small businesses, small buildings, and for business people, not just the family. And those transactions, well, when they move fast, it makes it a lot easier.
I have to tell you, our sector of our membership, the commercial realtor, is critical to our association.
Absolutely.
Because their transactions are much different than a residential sale or purchase, et cetera. And I tell you, they do an outstanding job representing small and large businesses in those transactions because they're very complex sometimes, very complicated, but they are so well versed in the experts that they can just bring those people together, deal with all the things that they're dealing with, and make that sale happen.
And in some cases, if you got a company that's looking to move in Louisiana and they're looking for a pretty good sized building, those are, you remember earlier we talked to not your nephew but your cousin, and he talked about having to work together. Well, if you got a company that wants to come in and they're looking for a certain building, it may be in Monroe, it may not be in another part of the state. So you got to start working with those people to find property for them to come in and be able to be successful.
And another thing you mentioned earlier, when a realtor is, say, in Leesville, Louisiana, doing their business there, if they get a client or customer in Slidell, the beautiful thing about the realtor organization is they're a family. They'll refer that to a great realtor in Slidell to be able to take that business and make it happen for that family or that business person up in the Slidell area.
Y'all don't, besides those changes and the one that you're trying to put out for the first-time homeowner, is there any other thing that y'all trying to push at this time? Or?
Actually, no, Moon. That's our major one. We brought the attention to the legislature of that issue last year, and we're going to try to come back with that in the near future. But we're kind of just watching and seeing what's going to take place with some of the issues we talked about, tax reform, tax issues, and sometimes you have to play some defense and kind of see what's going to go on, and we want to make sure that at the end, and really we're advocating not on behalf of the industry, sure, but it's because of those clients and customers that the realtors fight every day for, whether it's in the process itself, but particularly at that capital at Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C., and in the local council levels.
When you start talking about getting involved in elections, when you get involved in a candidate, you tell them about what issues you're interested in, but do you tell them about here's what we'd like to do in the future? Will you be on board for this?
Certainly, we'll tell them what our position is and what we think's good for the real estate market and and business in general for that sector. And certainly, we want to see them hopefully move the ball forward so that we can get more people buying businesses, buildings, buying homes as well.
Oh, no doubt about it. But that keeps everybody going. Well, I'll let you wrap up with this. So, what do you have the rest of the day and tomorrow?
We've got a group going now, learning how to lead at the local level, to create leaders not only in the real estate association level, but leaders in their communities and how they can go back and get involved and make their communities and state better. And Moon, we get the pleasure of hearing you at lunch today, and I know you're just so insightful and on a plethora of issues.
I hope I don't get booed. My producer said y'all should let me sing, right, Brandon? They should let me sing at the deal, right?
That will ensure that you will get booed.
That's what I love about you, Brandon. I appreciate you promoting my singing career. I was thinking today would be the day to kick it off.
It's not being ugly, it's being honest.
All right, Brandon, we appreciate it. Norman, it's been a pleasure. It really has, man. God bless. I appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun so far, and hopefully I know I'm going to eat good. I'm not counting on y'all to have a great speaker today, but we're going to have some fun with it anyway. Like I said, if you can't laugh, laugh at me. That at least gives you something to laugh at.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Moon.
All right, KOK of Cumulus Broadcasting. Thank you so much. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow back in studio. Wow.